Death Note, Chapter 5, Eyeballs. Watery. The FBI has started its probe. I've received a list of the MPA personnel working on the case. Yes, FBI agents entered Japan 4 days ago. Just within the MPA, 141 people with access to the task force information. But one of these 141 people was someone very close to them. It's Kira, I'm sure of it. Sorry. Light, you got a moment. I told you don't talk to me outside my room. People can't hear you, Luke, but they can hear me. Yeah, I know that, but I want to tell you this right now, Luke. I don't have anything against you, Light, in a way. You're the best person who could have picked up the Death Note. That's because I have to stick around till the notebook's finished, or you're finished. That is dead. But I'm neither on your side nor L's side in this. I knew that for you. So I'm going to tell you what you're doing is right or wrong. I won't say a word about it, but I will speak up once in a while. As your roommate, what's up with you? Why you're telling me all this now isn't like you. What I mean is what I'm about to tell you isn't spoken as good. It's because it's bugging me personally. It's just get to the point, will you? No, it's really been getting on my nerves for a couple of days. Just get to the point, will you? I'm always hovering behind you, so I noticed it right away. This guy's been following you every step you take. He doesn't see me, of course, but I feel like I'm being watched. Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. I'll get rid of him for you sooner than you. 2 days. He's been seeing an ordinary college-bound senior, that's it. Or rather, a super serious college-bound senior. I'm home. Hello, Light. Obviously, he hasn't entered my room. I realized that Kira has access to information only known to the task force. So now he suspects it's someone in the MPA. So my father, who heads the task force, has been put under surveillance too. He wouldn't use Japanese police to probe the MPA. So first I better find out who L is using. And it's only been 6 days since the leak. Yeah, I've already been followed for 2 days. And I'm only a family member, so whoever's doing it must have quite a few people on the job. Let's say they have 50 people probing the MPA. The likelihood that I'm suspected of being Kira is 0, but there are too many other suspects. But if the operation goes on for months, there's a slight chance that I'll come under scrutiny. I need to find out what my shadow's name is. If I can do that, it's all under control. So, what's the best way of getting his name without raising suspicions? Light. There are two big differences between the Shinigami and a human who has a Death Note. Do you know why Shinigami write people's names into these notebooks? How would I know? You're really in a talkative mood today, Ryuk. It's because Shinigami get extra life from humans. Extra life. Let's say you've someone whose natural lifetime in the human world is 60 years. If Shinigami writes them to die in 40 60 minus 40 is 20, so those 20 years of the human world time gets added into Shinigami's lifespan. So unless they're really lazy, you can shoot them through the head or knife them in the heart, or anything in a Shinigami won't die. Well, we are gods of a sort after all. I've seen Shinigami who died naturally, those who sat around doing nothing, living for centuries without remembering to write a single human name down. And I don't know what it is myself, but apparently a way to kill a Shinigami does exist. But anyway, Shinigami these days don't have feelings like I don't like this human, or let's make the human world a better place, or let's make it worse. To tell you the truth, the human world doesn't mean a thing to the Shinigami. They just don't want to die, so they get life from humans and then just go on with their own empty lives. The realm of the Shinigami has really gone to the dogs these days. Nobody even knows what we're here for anymore. Talk about a meaningless existence. You're a real fool, Ryuk. Shinigami like you comes down once in 100 years, no, once in 1,000 years to the human world. It's totally transformed. Your existence just the realm of the Shinigami is so meaningful. It's scary and true in any age, you think. If the place is really has gone to the dogs, as you say, how about making some changes when you go back? You know, apply some of what you see here. Light. I think you might actually be a real positive thinker. Of course I am. If I weren't optimistic, I wouldn't have thought I could make the world a better place. But if you write human names into the Death Note, like, you won't get extensions on your lifespan. That's the first big difference between a Shinigami and a human with a Death Note. This is way more interesting than this is way more interesting than that thing you told me earlier. Nobody knows this stuff about Shinigami. I know. The other difference might even be more interesting to you. Like, this isn't about extending your lifespan, although it is shortening it. We Shinigami look down to the human world, to choose which humans will write in our notebook. There might be some preferences involved, but usually it's just whoever your eye happens to land on. The unlucky bastards who's possessed by a Shinigami. So how do we know the person's name? Just by looking at them? Well, a Shinigami's eyes can see a human's name and lifespan over your head when we look at you. Their name and lifespan? Yeah. That's where Shinigamis always know the name of the people they're killing and how much extra life they'll get if they kill them. Our eyes are different. That's the biggest difference between you and me, and there's a deal that traditionally Shinigamis who drop the Death Note can only make with the human who picks it up, which will give that human a Shinigami's eyes. What kind of deal? The price of a Shinigami's eyes, half of that human's remaining lifetime. Half of their remaining lifetime. Yeah, so if you have 50 years left, that's 25, and if you have just 1 year, well, 6 months. Of course, I can see your name and lifespan right now. If I can put it to human years, the human world time, I know exactly how many more years left, of course. And I know I literally have a big mouth. I'll never tell you what it is. And since you aren't on Kira's side, or even outside, if you see the name of the person I want to kill, you aren't gonna tell me. No, in fact, that's one of the rules to Shinigami realm. I ought to tell you this deal has no advantages for Shinigami. I can extend my lifespan using anybody In other words, the steel was invented to help humans who picked up the Death Note. Give me half your remaining lifetime, and you can have the Shinigami. And with those, I can look at anyone and know their names.